So that's the second class that I ever created. And back in the day when I wasn't as busy as I am now, when I was doing my touring and all of that, I would tell them, oh man, send me a page of your stuff, I'll critique it for free. Don't you? I mean, I still will, but you got to pay. A little bit busier now. And the number one thing that I got over and over and over again is I'd read their stuff, and I would say, you're very telling. You need to be more show when you're writing. It's prose, it's all about show. Now I realized that for 6,000 years, all they did was tell. If you read the old classics, there's nothing but tell for the most part. There's a few exceptions, but for the most part, it's always been a very telling industry. And so I would say, you need to show one. They would say, oh, thank you so much, that's great advice. And they would hustle away, rewrite, and then send it back to me, and I would reread it, and I would go, so I see that you're using different words, but you're very telling. You need to be more showy. And they were like, you said that. I totally remember you said that. And they would scribble away, and they would send it back to me, and I would look at it, and I would go, you have no idea what I mean when I say show, don't tell. And they were like, not a clue. No idea. It is actually probably the hardest thing about being a prose writer, which is why for 6,000 years no one's really ever done it. Now, we are becoming more showy as writers as time goes on, and there are some amazing. Brandon Sanderson's my second favorite author. He's very showy. I just said that next to him on a panel 3 months ago, and he turned to me and said, wait, who's your favorite author? I'm like, me. And I was like, if you just wrote a little bit more violence, you would probably be my favorite author. But it just doesn't quite get as violent as I like it. So I've got to take it out for me. I'm still my favorite author. So I do love this class. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to be talking about showing and telling. But before I'm going to do that, I'm going to do my commercial. I highly recommend, yesterday we talked a lot about theory. This book is running a 4.9 out of 5 stars. It's all about the theory that you need to understand to be a good storyteller. This will make you a better storyteller no matter how or what medium you write in. Today we're going to be talking about more practical stuff, which is what this book is all about. Now, most of this class is not in this book, but this book has a ton of stuff that will make you a better prose writer. Both of these are available in bookstores for $25, but my lovely assistant standing in the back will have them for a discounted price of only $20. If you get both, you can get it for an even bigger discount, only $40. And I hope that you guys see the same. But he only takes cash. However, if you want to use a credit card, or if you want to talk to me for the rest of the day and skip Comic-Con altogether and just spend your day with me, I am in small press. If you come into the B door, walk straight to the wall to the bathrooms. I am the last booth right next to the bathrooms. You cannot miss me if you're going to the bathroom. I'm right there. But I will be there all day. Actually, I've got a little appointment. I'm going to go take a side trip on the way down there. So I'll probably be there until about noon. But after noon, I will be there for the rest of the day, so you can chat with me. If you want to use a credit card to get the book, now I did have very limited space, so I didn't bring all that many. Sold out probably about a third of them yesterday, so we still have 3 days of attention. If you want something, I'd probably come down sooner rather than later. All right, I start off all my class with a disclaimer. Remember, we're talking speculative fiction here. If you don't know the term speculative fiction, I mean genre fiction. I mean anything in a Barnes & Noble that goes under a title. Fantasy, science fiction, romance, vampire, or whatever, those are genre fictions. Another way to look at it is, I write in the genres that make money, not win awards. So if you're a literary fiction writer and you want to win awards, so that's what we're talking about. It's all about speculative fiction. However, if you do write in something else that isn't speculative fiction, you will definitely get success in my class. You'll just have to use your own imagination to work with it. Always remember these my opinion. I'm a very person. Everything I say as facts. But if I do say something that you disagree with, just remember I'm always right. So, you'll have to think about that. You have to decide that. I really just try to, all these classes are designed to work you from the aspect of you know what you're doing. And that's really what I try to do. The most dangerous thing about being a writer is you don't know what you don't know. And so all of my classes are designed to show you, to peel back that fog door and make you go, ooh, wow, I didn't know that. Wow, that's crazy. Why didn't I do that? And so I'm trying to open your eyes, because the best way to become a great writer is to continue studying writing forever. I still read a book on grammar every single year. Here's the same book. I've kind of fallen into this one that I really love. It's called English Demystified, and it's written for fourth graders. But it is awesome. It's not insulting and degrading. It doesn't talk to you like a fourth grader, but it also doesn't assume you know anything. So I highly recommend that book. I read it almost every year because, how often do you think about, your tenses on your first syllables? You don't think about that a lot. You read that much. I still do it as that kind of way to get back into things that I don't think about all the time. And then lastly, please don't get offended. I am professionally 14 mentally. So I'm going to be an idiot up here. And if I say something offends you, just remember it's your fault. Because you were offended by somebody who's mentally 14, and you need to be adults in our relationship. Alright, so moving on. I start off all of my classes with a quote. This one is from Anton Chekhov. Don't tell me the moon is shining, show me the glint of light on broken glass. Now I love this quote. I do love this quote because it is about show, don't tell. But that's not why I love this quote. I love this quote because old Anton died in 1904. People have been bitching at writers to stop telling in their writing forever. I've got this scene in my head. There's these cavemen sitting around a fire, and one guy's like, I'll write a story about saber-toothed cat. But you're very tempted. You need me for a joke. Like, forever we've been doing it wrong. Forever. And again, the reason is because it's very difficult. It's very difficult to understand what the crap being a showy writer means. So that's what this class is going to do. We're going to go through and figure out what showing means, and then I'm going to show you how to use that in your own writing, and then I'm going to prove to you it is the best way to do it. That's my job. So let's see if I can accomplish that. So first of all, what is the difference between telling and showing? The basic difference between showing and telling is that with telling, the writer is merely cataloging actions, feelings, emotions, and events. Showing paints an image that allows the reader's imagination to create a scene and place the reader in the middle of it. It is literally the difference between the laundry list and the laundry. I mean, that is the Genesis. So let's say, well, actually, let's look at some, or did I take them out? Yes, I did take them out. All right, so I'm going to do some things. I took out the slides because I needed time, but I'm going to skip through these really quickly. So here's another way to look at it. Everybody has seen a telling movie because everybody's seen an animal documentary. You've seen that documentary where there's a cheetah punching a gazelle. And there's some dude off screen that's talking to you, and they're like, the cheetah's very hungry. She hasn't made a kill in weeks. If she doesn't make a kill today, she won't be able to produce enough milk for her babies, and her babies will die. That's a tell, because the cheetah can't show you this stuff. The cheetah is limited in what they can form, so somebody has to tell you what's going on inside that cheetah's mind. For a show, let's say we're filming a movie where Brad Pitt's the main actor, and he's downtown with his child, and they're having this daughter-daddy day, and you see this great kind of love between these two, and they're going to museums, they're doing all this fun stuff, and they're getting ice cream, and they're walking down the street, and the daughter trips and falls into the street, and a bus runs over her head, and it pops up, her eye goes flying, and she's dead. And so Brad runs out and scoops her up, and he's just crying and screaming. Think about the end of 7. Like, that's the kind of performance I'm talking about. We don't need some dude to then step out and go, hey, by the way, this guy is very sad that his daughter's dead. We don't need that because Brad is going to show us that. Now, I'm cheating because I'm using video. Video, they have pictures. We are prose writers. We get words. Words on paper, that's all we get. But we have to accomplish the exact same thing as Brad Pitt, experiencing the pain of the loss of his daughter, and not the narrator telling us what the cheetah is doing and why. That's what we have to do, and that is very difficult. And we're going to look at 12 thinking points. I got 40 minutes. I'm not going to make you amazing writers in 40 minutes, but I'm going to put you on the path. If you can do these 12 things, you will be miles above every other writer that's in literature. These 12 things will put you on the path. You still got a lot of work to do, but these are what I kind of consider the big ones. Thinking point 1, use stronger verbs. While verbs are not a way to show, this has nothing to do with showing. They are vitally important. Verbs are the most important word in every single sentence you write. And every verb you write should be a decision. You should pick them on purpose and by design. Here's why. If I wrote Drake hit the wall, everybody can see that, right? You see Drake, you see him hit the wall. But if I change the verb and write Drake struck the wall, do you see the same scene in your head, or has it now changed? What about Drake whacked the wall? Drake bashed the wall. These are all the exact same sentence. And yet, every one of them evokes a different mental picture in your mind. Verbs are your most important word because every verb is going to create a different image for your reader. So every verb should be chosen specifically because you want to paint a specific picture inside of your reader's mind. Now, I'm very much against writers who feel like their job is to make every reader know that they are smarter than them. So while Drake percussed the wall is an accurate sentence, if I read this in your manuscript, we're done. I'm out. Because this is also stupid. We're entertainment writers. And this may go against you. You may be like, no, I really am writing to prove to the world that I'm smart enough. Then great, awesome, you do that. That's not the way I do it. I don't want my readers to have to look up a word in a dictionary every third page. That I want them to watch a movie in their head and be lost in this amazing world I've created. And every time they go, oh, that's a big word, I don't know what that means, and they go to a dictionary, guess what? They're no longer watching the movie in their head. I have broken the story. So I don't write flowery. Matter of fact, one of my favorite reviews of one of my books a long time ago, I was reading it. It's a 5-star review from a professional critic, and I got to this line. I was like, wow, somebody finally gets me. That's awesome. Or are they insulting me? I've memorized it. The line said, while Drake is an amazingly detailed, immersive writer, I never found myself marveling over his use of prose. He's also a very simplistic writer. And again, that's exactly what I want, but I didn't understand whether it was a plus or a minus. But about 6 months later, I bumped into him at convention, and he was like, oh no, that was an insult. And I'm like, but if I write flowery, and if you're reading along and you read this flowery line, you're like, oh God, look at that, look at how he wrote that line. That is just beautiful. Guess what you're not doing? You're not watching the movie in your head anymore. So I don't want you to write flowers. Some writers do, and if you do, that's great. It's just not, I don't write that. I write movies in your head. And so I never want to break that illusion. So, you're just going to continue reading. So that's just me. It's just my opinion. You take it for what it's worth. But let's say we write the line, Drake put his gun in his holster, turned and walked from the room. Everybody can see that. But if we just change 2 words, Drake slammed his gun in his holster, turned and stormed from the room. Everything changes. Verbs are the most important word, period. It doesn't make you a showy writer. None of that is a show. But you have to pay attention to your verbs. And if you don't start there, everything else falls apart. Thinking point 2, let the reader feel it. Don't tell the reader what they feel. Emotions are the fertile ground in which to sow the show. Unfortunately, it is easy to slip into telling. Emotions are a way to the reader's heart. If you can immerse the reader into what your narrator is experiencing, your job as an author is half done. I get it. Writing is terrifying. You're pouring your soul on the page, and other people may not like it. It sucks. But if you don't pour your soul on the page, it's going to suck anyway. So just jump off the cliff. Take the chance. Do what your job is, and be an amazing writer. So let's look at this. We don't want to tell our readers what the characters in our story are feeling. We want to show it to them. Let them experience those emotions for themselves. So don't worry about the white stuff. This is a terror. I hate all my examples. They're not really. It's hard to write a one-sentence thing to show a point and also make it awesome, creative writing. But the monster jumped in the bushes, and Drake was scared. I've seen this a billion times. But here's the thing. If you can turn something into a math equation, you're telling. Drake equals scared. It's a math equation. I'm telling you what Drake is feeling. Now, let's go back to step 1. Scared is a very weak verb. So let's say we're like, oh no, I got you, Drake. I'm going to use Drake was terrified. I'm showing now. No, Drake equals terrified. You're not showing, you're still telling. You were using a better word. But it is not a show, it is a tell. Now, was in this sentence is a verb as well. It is a linking verb. So you go, okay, I got you. We're going to write, Drake felt terrified. Now I'm showing, no, it's still a math equation. You are still telling the reader how Drake feels. Here's the thing. To learn how to be a great prose writer, you have to buy into the concept that writing prose is a different language than English. It is not speaking, it is writing. So, to turn this into a show, you have to ask the question, what does it look like or what does it feel like to be terrified? And whatever your answer is, that's a show. So maybe we write, the monster jumped in the bushes, terror washed over Drake, draining the blood from his face. Oh, that's what it looks like to be terrified. Now, to me, this is overwriting. We don't even need this much. We really could write something like, the monster jumped in the bushes, the blood drained from Drake's face. Whatever your answer is of how to show or make the reader feel this, that's your answer. And terror is one of those. I mean, this is just a short list. I struggle to breathe. Drake struggled to breathe. My eyes bulged. Drake's eyes bulged. Tremors racked my body. Tremors racked Drake's body. A sensation of needles ran up my arm. Drake's throat clamped shut. A scream ripped from my lips. Drake's palms felt clammy. And I hate that. I need to take that out because it's got the feel in there. I've been meaning that for like 3 years. I backed away, escape being my only thought, the only thought in my head. Here's the thing. Whatever you answer, that's a show. You're painting a picture of what it means to feel afraid. I highly recommend, if you don't have it, you buy a book called The Emotional Thesaurus. It's a book that has a word at the top and then tons of different ways to write. You'll have like love, tons of ways, and fear, tons of ways. It's great. It's sitting on my desk. I don't use it. I haven't used it in years, but it's still there in case I need it. But it's a great resource, and it doesn't have everything, but it's a great jumping off point. Highly recommend that book, The Emotional Thesaurus. But also keep in mind that there are differences between your narrating character and your secondary character. Remember, with your narrating character, you're inside the narrator's head. With your secondary characters, you're not. So in other words, if Drake is a secondary character, I can write what it looks like to be afraid. But I couldn't write something, if John is my narrating character, and I wrote, bile rose in the back of Drake's throat. Unless John walked over and stuck his tongue down Drake's throat, which is probably a different story, you're not going to know that bile was in the back of Drake's throat. So you do have to pay attention to whether you're doing a narrating character who you're inside of their head or everyone else. And it's very easy to understand head hopping. Look around the room. Everybody take a second, look around the room. You don't know what anybody else is thinking because you're the hero of your story. You are the narrator. You are in your head. You are not in anyone else's head. It's that simple. When you are writing, you're writing in the narrator's head. Every other character, even if they may be a narrating character in every chapter, is just like the other people on the script. They're not, you can't be in their head. It's that simple. Come tomorrow and we'll talk a lot about head hopping. So some things to think about. Avoid bland linking verbs. Was, were, has, had, are, is, feel, felt. These are all crappy red flags that you're telling. So the monster was coming toward me, and I felt terrified. I had but one chance, the cliff, though I knew I wasn't fast enough. There simply was too much ground between me and safety. Look at all the red flags in there. It's all tell. If we're going to turn this show, we're going to have to ask, what does all this stuff look like and feel like? We're going to have to think differently as writers. The monster stepped closer. My entire body shook and I could not breathe. My mind raced as my eyes darted around. There, a cliff, or the cliff. A sliver of hope I could grasp, but could I outrun this nightmare? Now, the audience will feel what's going on. In this, I'm just telling you, oh, there's a monster and it's chasing me, and oh, isn't that awesome and exciting? And a lot of people will read this and go, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I've read that a million times. It sucks. This brings you into the story. This makes you experience what's going on. We need to think differently as writers. Thinking point 3, write active voice versus passive voice. The number one thing that I love about the English language is that the people who created the rules of English wrote them so that anyone could understand them. A lot of people struggle with active voice versus passive voice, and I don't understand that. Here's the actual definition. In an active voice sentence, the subject is doing the action. In a passive voice sentence, the target of the action gets promoted to the subject position. How could you not understand that? This is why I hate English, because the people who created it are morons. I don't get it. And everybody struggles with active voice versus passive voice. So in 2 minutes, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know. First of all, we're going to go back to 3rd grade. For me, it was Mrs. Johnson's class, and by this, I picked on her relentlessly because I hated her. Luckily, she's dead, because she was like 108 when I was in 3rd grade. So, she's definitely dead now. And she deserved it, because I hated her. I hated English. But it's not that difficult. So let's go back to 3rd grade, and let's diagram a sentence. Because guess what? If you're going to be a creative writer, you must know how to diagram sentences. You must. The cool thing is you really only need to know how to do 2 things in diagramming. You don't have to go insane with all the little jokes and jives and all this other stuff. You need to know what the subject is, and you need to know what the action is, and that's it. So, the dog bit the boy. What's the subject of this sentence? The dog. What's the action? Bit. So, the dog is our subject, and it does the action of biting. It's active voice. It's that simple. The dog is our subject, bit is our action, the dog is doing the action, therefore it is active voice. If we flip it around and write, the boy was bitten by the dog, what is our subject? The boy. What is the action? Was bitten. What did the boy do? Nothing. It's passive voice. If you can find the subject and the action in every sentence you write, which you should be able to do without even thinking, you can tell if you're writing in active versus passive. Some people are like, oh, well, just look for was or look for... No, there's other ways to write passive voice. Find your subject, find your action. If the subject is doing the action, you're in active voice. If the subject is not doing the action, you're in passive voice. It is that simple. You must know how to diagram sentences. What not insane? Third grade. You need to be a third grader to do my job. That's it. It's not that difficult. But you got to do it. That's the problem is most writers don't. They don't think about this stuff, and they don't understand how to do it. It's not that difficult. So that's the difference between active and passive voice. Guess what? As an American prose writer, you're supposed to write less than 2% passive voice in your manuscript. I write less than 0.2% of my, in all of my, because the only time I use passive voice is when I want to withhold information from the reader. Because the boy was bitten is a complete sentence. But who bit the boy? A spider? A dog? His sister? I'm not telling you. You're not going to know. Because I'm going to write it in passive voice because I'm going to take out the subject that is actually doing the action. I'm going to remove it from the text. That's the only time I write passive voice. Because there's no other reason. Why would you write this crappy, sloppy, long, extra-worded sentence when this does the exact same thing and is more exciting to read? Why would you ever write a passive voice? It makes no sense to me. So be careful with your passive voice and active voice. It will make you a much better writer. This does not make you a showy writer, but it, again, goes a long way for it. Thing of point 4, avoid filtering. This is something that I preach constantly because I see it rampantly used, and it really does kill me. Filtering is the worst thing you can do in your story, and it rots it silently from the inside. Most aspiring writers have never even heard of this term, but it is the absolute #1 reason why stories suck. It just is. And it's the dumbest thing to do, but everyone does it. Filtering has to do with what you want the reader to focus on, and that comes down to understanding why we construct the way we do. Why is the dog the subject and the dog bit the boy? Because it's the first thing the reader sees. It's what they relate to. It's the first image that appears in their mind. That's why we want to write an active voice, because we want them to see the dog first and then what the dog is doing. Filtering has to do with, and again, it's rampant in all writing, even professional writing. But what you do is you write a sentence that forces the reader to look at the narrating character who's looking at something else. That's what filtering is. You're filtering the story through the narrator. Now, I'm not talking about through their perspective. We want to tell the story through the perspective of our narrator. We'll talk about that a little later. What I'm talking about is you're forcing the reader to look at the narrator while they're doing something. We don't usually want to do that. So I could feel the demon's hot breath licking the back of my neck. I've seen this sentence a million times. You may read it and go, oh no, that's really cool, I like that. But what's the subject? I. What's this action? Could feel. Is I the cool thing of this sentence? Is I what I want the readers to look at in this sentence? No. Is could feel the cool action that's happening in this sentence? No. You're filtering the story through this. Instead, write the demon's hot breath lick the back of my neck. Now, the reader feels it. A lot of times, you'll feel the hairs on the back of your neck stand up when I read that. Like, ooh, that's actually kind of scary. Because what's the subject? The demon's hot breath. What's the action? Lick. What's the cool part of the sentence? The demon's hot breath is lick. That's what is the cool part. That's what we want the readers to focus on. Do not filter in your writing. It is terrible. Here's some red flags on filtering. Could, can, decided, decide, all this. I'm not going to read the list all the time. There's a lot of kind of red flags that you want to stay away from. Drake wondered what it would feel like to fall to his death. This is an emotion. This is internal. Again, to turn this into a show, you have to ask the question, what does it mean to wonder what it feels like to fall to your death? Maybe it's this answer. Drake's imagination ran wild, the wind rushing past him, whipping his clothes into a tangled frenzy, the sight of the ground racing up to meet him, its soul desire to crush every bone in his body, the terror and ecstasy of his last breath of life. Oh, that's what it feels like to wonder what it feels like to fall to death. Oh, and also, Drake's that shit crazy. And if that's the character you're writing, this, saying Drake wondered what it would feel like to fall to death, does nothing to show that this character is insane. This goes a long way to showing that he's pretty much crazy, if that's the depth that he's thinking about. This is why we do what we do. So, Drake watched the rabid dog creep closer. Again, Drake is the subject, watches the action, not cool. The rabid dog crept closer to Drake. You look down the hall and see Drake. Drake walks down the hall towards you. I see the knife lying on the table and pick it up. Now this I'm going to do something kind of fancy with. The knife lies on the table. Remember, sentence structure is important. So if the knife is very, very important to the scene, why would I ever combine the knife and the action used on it? I'm going to break those up into two sentences. The knife lays on the table. Ooh, that's important. Reader's going to stop there and go, ooh, knife, important. Let's do that. I pick it up. Ooh, that's also important. We're going to design our sentences on purpose and by design to force the reader to pay attention to what we want. We're in control. I say this all the time. No reader has to come into my story with anything. I don't care you don't need any baggage to come into my world. Because when I want you to laugh, you're going to laugh. When I want you to cry, you're going to cry. When I want you to feel misery, I'm going to take you down. Because I'm in control. This is my roller coaster. You're just a passenger. And how I do that is by sentence structure and understanding why I do what I do. Dylan wondered if he should call Drake today. I wonder if I should call Drake today. Dialogue and inner monologue are great ways to flip a sentence that's just information and use them in a more showy way. Because when you read dialogue or read inner monologue, it feels like somebody's actually communicating with you. So it always feels more showy. It's not, it's a trick, but it feels that way. So I turn this into inner monologue. Or use filter. Because sometimes you're going to want to filter. Again, it's about paying attention to what you want the reader to look at. So let's say I write, I'm sorry, Drake, we can't be together any longer. Dylan said as he stood. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. I watched as Dylan slowly walked away, my heart screaming. What's the important part of this? Is Dylan walking away the important part? Is Dylan walking away what I want the readers to look at? No. You're going to look at Drake as he cries his little eyes out because Dylan just broke his heart. I'm going to force you to look at what I want you to look at, not what you want to look at. You're just a passenger. I'm in control. So filter, absolutely, when you need to filter. It's all about understanding that every sentence you're forcing the reader to look at something and make the decision of what that is and then force them to do it. Thinking point 5, don't tell the reader how to react. An easy way to grasp if you were telling instead of showing is by looking at the words you were using. Do the words tell the reader how they should react to the event? If so, you are telling. Then, in a totally unexpected move, the monster jumps through. Every time I read something like this, and it does add time to my reading, but every time I read something like this, I go, then, I'm a horrible writer and can't do my job, so you, Mr. Reader, do it for me, the monster jumped the trick. I know it's a long way to read that, but it's literally what you're doing. Not my job it's like going to a movie theater, and then up on screen it just pops up some words that says, there's a really cool fight scene, act it out amongst yourselves. You're there to watch it. The readers are here to read it, to experience it. If you tell them, hey, do my job for me, and just imagine it was unexpected, you're doing, that's not their job. They paid you money to be entertained. Again, to rewrite it, we have to ask, what does it look like, or what does it feel like to have this event happen to us? And whatever that answer is, that's just right. Here's an example that I used. Drake took another step back, and again, the monster did not move. Letting out a shuddered breath, he forced himself to calm down. I just need to keep moving away. I'll be fine, he thought. Shock stabbed into him as the creature lunged off of him. Oh, that's what it looks like to have a creature lunge at you unexpectedly. That's one way anyway. Like I said, I don't like any of my examples. It wasn't like you would. We have to show it to them. Don't tell the reader how to react. Unexpectedly suddenly abruptly out of the blue without warning. All of these things are just terrible, terrible, terrible red flags. You're asking the reader to do your job for you. Theme point 6, let the reader see it, don't make them guess. Showing is also about eliminating ambiguity and vagueness within your narrative. A writer needs to paint a picture. If you assume the reader knows what you mean, make an ass out of you and me, as people think it. So we could write the line, there was an old shack sitting in the backyard. Everybody's seen that, right? Everybody's seen an old shack in the backyard. But do you think you see the old shack I see? Do you see the old shack I want you to see? Not from that line. That's just a tell. I'm just having you do the job for me. Instead, I might write, an old shack slumped in the backyard like a broken weed with pale white paint. faded and flaky. The door hung limp on its hinges, swinging in the gentle breeze. Now you're starting to see the picture that I want you to see. I'm painting it for you because you're a passenger and I'm the conductor. We want to show it to them. Now, here's the thing. This is narrative. This is not about emotions. This is not about all the stuff we talked about before. You need to make some serious hard choices on narrative. Because let's say we're writing a story, it's a horror story, and Drake goes into this old haunted house. And he's going up the stairs, and he's going to go upstairs in the attic, and he's going to find something. So I'm a set designer. I add a window to the staircase, and I have Drake look out and sees an old shack. Depends on what I want it to do. Let's say Drake goes upstairs, finds a magic mirror, steps through the magic mirror, and goes to another world, and never comes back to this house. I don't care what he sees. The reason why I would write, there was an old shack living in the backyard. One of the things that we sci-fi fantasy writers do is we're trying to ground the reader in the mundane. We say, hey, Drake walked in the kitchen and cooked a pot of soup. And the reader goes, oh, I've cooked soup. I must be just like Drake. And then he fights bees. Like, oh, that's a little different. We're always grounding the reader in the mundane. So if Drake's going to go upstairs and teleport away, and I add a little check, I'm not going to give you any details. You can imagine a bright fluorescent pink shack with naked babies dancing on the roof. It doesn't affect the story. I just want you to see that there's an old shack, and then we're going to leave. However, another trick that I like to use is to break up my info dumps. Let's say Drake goes upstairs, finds some information, and then that information says, hey, you've got to go to the old shack in the backyard. Well, I've got to describe the old shack eventually, and maybe that happens in the next chapter. But instead of doing the old shack all at once in the second chapter, I will give a little piece of information as he looks out the window in this chapter. And in the next chapter, I only have to give half as much information because I've already started to describe the shack in the last chapter. And I can break up that info dump and allow the reader to experience it from here and from there, and it makes it more palatable for the reader. Instead of this 3-paragraph of this is what this old shack looks like in the next chapter. So narrative you have to think about. Narrative, maybe you don't want to add any detail, maybe you do. Again, you are in charge. You make the decision on purpose and by design, and your readers will thank you for it. Thing point 7, make it personal. This is the hardest thing. One of the hardest concepts to grasp about being a showy writer is that you must make everything in your narrative personal to your POV. Remember, if you are writing first-person POV or third-person limited POV, which are the two most common narratives for speculative fiction, then it is your character who is telling the story, not you. I have never been a character, other than these 2 books. I am the character in these 2 books, absolutely. But they're nonfiction. But in my fiction, I've never been the narrator. Sure, I've written the words, but that's my only job. It's somebody else's story, and they're telling it, and it's their opinions, and their moral compass, and everything about them is who is telling the story, not me. Never been in any one of my stories ever. Not once. You have to understand that if you're writing a limited POV, it's called limited for a reason. It is limited to the narrator. Not the writer, the narrator. And the character is the narrator, so it's limited to them. But to be a really good showy writer, everything has to be, like I said, filtering is where you filter the story and force the reader to look at the character when they're doing something, but you still have to push the story through the perspective of your narrator. That is not filtering, that is telling the story from their perspective. And this is where you're really going to have a lot of time working on to practice this skill. And the big thing is, I read this all the time, or I find this all the time when I'm visiting other cities or whatever, and I go to writers' conferences. I hear, oh, you can't write exposition in prose. And seriously, this is something for the last 2 or 3 years I've heard over and over and over again at different writers' groups and writers' conferences. They will say, oh no, in your novel you can't write anything a camera can't see. Dude, prose is the only medium that you can write things that the camera can't see. This isn't a movie script, it's prose. You are inside the head of your narrating character. Do not shy away from that. Embrace it. So what I mean by that is, let's say we write something like this. I sit in the backyard, it was winter, and snow covered the roof of the 2-story home I grew up in. The pool had been drained, the trampoline placed in storage. A foot of snow sat atop my father's old covered grill. The forest surrounding the house was filled with bare branches. The place felt as empty as my soul. I've read stuff like this a million times. And maybe you're reading that and going, oh, that's really good. It sucks. It is terrible. There's nothing personal. What about this tells you anything about me? Nothingness. How do I feel about anything? Sure, I tell you, it feels empty as my soul, but that's it. Instead, if we make everything personal, we might write something like this. I stood in the backyard where I spent my entire childhood. The pool that housed the pirate battles and sea monster attacks. The trampoline where I competed for Olympic gold. The surrounding forest I spent my countless days exploring, pretending it was the deep, dark jungles of Africa. The grill my father used each summer to serve up hamburgers, chicken, and ribs tastier than any I'd had since leaving home. But all that were left now was memories, cold and empty as the winter gripping me all around me. Snow covered the roof of the two-story house, icicle lined the eaves. The pool had been drained, the trampoline placed in storage. A foot of snow sat atop the covered grill. The bare branch forest now was lifeless as my soul. These are the exact same things. I describe nothing different in either one of them. But in this one, you want to keep reading. You're compelled to find out why this person is here. You probably have some guesses. Ooh, maybe he's here because his father's dead. Maybe he's been estranged for the last 20 years. Like there's things that make you question. It makes you want to find out more. That other one is all just telling you, here's what the yard looks like. Here's what the world looks like. Here's what I'm feeling. This one brings you into the story and makes you want to find out more. Now this is first person, third person works the exact same way. Drake lived in the backyard where he spent his entire life, or his entire childhood. The pool that housed the fire battle and sea monster attacks, the trampoline buckle. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's exactly the same. All I did was change I to either Drake or he. It's a limited POV. We're going to talk about this in detail tomorrow about how to write third person limited. Third person limited is called limited because it's limited. Not there's no swapping of hands in this. It's just right up front. It's in the title. It's like don't swim with killer whales because killer is in their name. We want to make it personal. We want to push our readers to be compelled to continue reading our stories. Theme point A, use dialogue to cut info dumps. Dialogue in a novel is not simply your characters talking to each other. It is also a way for the writer to show more of their story because it gives insight to your characters. So like I said, when you looked around the room, you're inside your head, but you're not inside of any other person's head. Guess how you can figure out anything about everyone else? There's only two ways. By what they say and what they do. If they don't say it or do it, you have no idea what they're thinking. Because they're secondary or tertiary characters, and that's just the way it is. If the zombie has attacked this room, I'm the main character, I'm going to survive, so you might want to stick with me. You guys are all secondary, some of you are tertiary characters. You're not going to make it. That's the way it is. Sorry. Sally was a 20-year company woman. Drake knew she was frustrated, but he also knew she wouldn't roll over on their boss just for being an idiot. She had a conscience. This was something that Sally's a secondary character. Let's say we're writing a corporate espionage book, and this is chapter 7, and Drake goes to the office for the very first time, and me, the writer, goes, oh wow, the readers don't know anything about Sally. I better dump a bunch of information on them so that they know who Sally is. Guess what? Readers are pretty smart. You can allow the readers to learn about Sally, because if this scene is Sally and Drake having a conversation that needs to happen, if it's already there, maybe you add, once again, I had to cover for our imbecile boss, Sally's side, and park in the chair. But I couldn't let things go forward his way, Drake. You know it would have cost the company millions. I just wish I could tell the board and not feel guilty about ruining his career. Every single piece of information that's in here, except for one minor detail that doesn't matter, is down here. Every single thing. Is she a company woman? She couldn't let things go forward. She went against her boss to save the company money, so that obviously shows you that she's a company woman. Is she frustrated? She's sighing and popping. Like, that's obvious signs of being frustrated. Does she have a conscience? She literally says, I would feel guilty for ruining his career. The only thing that's not in here is 20 years. 20 years not in, but she's a secondary character. Does the reader need to know how many years she's worked there? However, I did put a little clue. She says, I wish I could tell the board. If it's a multi-billion-dollar company, do you think a first-year employee has access to the board of directors? Or do you have to have been there for a couple of decades before you have access to the board of directors? So by adding that little piece of detail in there, a savvy reader will go, oh, Sally's been there for a while. She's got access to the board of directors. And again, if it's important to the story, I'll beef it up even more. It has to do with how much is needed for the story. But this is a crafty info dump, and this is more of an interesting way to get that information to the reader. But don't force it. As Brandon Sanderson likes to call it, he calls it the as you know dialogue. Please don't do this. As you know, Ren said to Finn, you and I are elfins, and elfins eat only honey. The next line should be Finn saying, duh, idiot. Because this is, I see this in fantasy all the time. They're like, well, they don't know that elfins only eat honey, I've got to tell them. But they wouldn't tell each other because they literally grew up that way. Because you're doing this exact same thing. As you know, John said to Phil, you and I are humans, and humans must breathe air. You laugh at this one, but this is the exact same thing. As we said earlier, somebody was like, it was a room full of rocket scientists, and they were explaining rocket science to each other. Like, no, they aren't. They're rocket scientists. That's, they already know this stuff. Don't force it. Don't use the as you know dialogue. However, to go the other way, thinking point 9, show don't tell. Going the other way, don't use dialogue as a crutch to avoid showing in your prose. So just because I can take crappy narrative info dump prose and turn it into dialogue and make it more interesting, sometimes it's not the right thing to do. I'm so angry with you, Drake said to Dylan. Sure, I've taken, instead of writing Drake was angry at Dylan, which is a tell, I've turned it into dialogue. I've won, right? No, it's crappy. Dylan sat tenderly across the table from Drake, his eyes pleading for what? Forgiveness, acceptance? Drake looked away, his jaws clenching as he flickered out the window. Right thing for the right time. Sometimes narration is the right tool to use to get the point across to the reader. Sometimes dialogue is the right tool to use to show the story to the reader. You need to pay attention to what you're doing. And you need to make the decision you're in charge. Not the reader, not the characters, you. You're writing the story, and it's vitally important for you to pick the right thing. Thinking point 10, let the reader hear it, don't tell the reader what they hear. Speech tags are used as tools for showing rather than telling the story. Unfortunately, most people use these tells. Let's go, Drake said anxiously. Drake said equals anxiously. Turning around and putting it as a tell. Let's go, Drake said, trying to glance in all directions at once. Now we're showing the anxiety instead of just telling them they would say anxiously. I'm speeding up so I don't have 2 minutes. Big point 11, show your adverbs. I hate adverbs. A couple years ago, I was here at Comic Con, and I said that, and somebody was like, I was just at George Martin panel, and he said, it was the worst advice he ever got was to kill adverbs. I'm like, yeah, great, right? Like George Martin, he's a very clever writer. I don't want to write that way. He's great. I love his stuff. I really do. It's just very adverb heavy in my opinion. And it is an opinion. The above is a great example of another common mistake, using adverbs, but adverbs are not just done in speech tags. Oh no, my friends, all writers, especially you, consider radically use adverbs. Luckily, most adverbs are easily trimmed from your lovingly constructed manuscript because most adverbs are simply redundant. That's the worst thing about them is usually they're just dumb. Be quiet, Drake screamed loudly. Can you scream loudly? You just can't. There's no reason to add this. It adds nothing to the value of the sentence. Keeping low, Drake quickly raced to the other side of the room. Can you slowly race? Doesn't add anything. When the plane tilted sideways, Drake was thrown completely out the other door. Thank you so much for clarifying that, because I was worried that Drake was going to leave his leg in the plane. Does nothing. Look at your adverbs as well. Not one that sounds totally stupid. Drake completely changed what he was about to say. Adds nothing. What's even worse is a lot of times they're used smart or weak words. Why use it? So you're putting this exception bar. Knowing the boy is exceptionally smart, you're using that word to overcompensate for this weak word. Instead, just write, knowing the boy is brilliant. Pick a better word. It's that simple. Everything's on purpose and by design. But one last thing. You could write Drake slowly walk across the room. But what does that do for the audience? How does that show them anything? If instead I wrote, dragging his feet, Drake dreaded what he was finding on the other side of the room. Now you're like, maybe I don't want Drake to go to the other side of the room. Maybe he should stay where he's at. But Drake slowly walks across the room does nothing. But sometimes I use adverbs. I use 1 page, 1 or 2 pages. Sometimes you just want the door to slowly close. What you want. Use it. Again, it's about balance. It's about making decisions and not just picking words on the page. We are professional writers telling professional stories that we expect people to give us money for. I make stuff up for this. If the zombie apocalypse breaks out and I do survive, kill me. I have no value. I tell stories. I'm not going to find you food. I'm not going to protect you from the zombies. I'm a burden. If we survive, I'll tell you a really cool story. Kill me, like right out of the gates. I'm worthless. But I expect you to give me money for what I do, even though I have no value in society other than entertainment. But if I expect you to pay me money, you should expect that I do a really good job. 3.12. It's okay to tell sometimes. Again, everything is about balance. Keep in mind, writing is a balancing act. A novel that is one big show might be the worst thing ever written. There are times when you need to tell. Let's say we're writing that monster attack story from the very beginning. I know it was a long time ago, I've done a lot, but let's say we're writing that, and we write this scene where Drake gets attacked by a monster. And then in the second chapter, he goes home, and he's going to tell his wife about the monster attack. Don't tell the wife about the monster attack. Even though that would be a showy way to do it, the reader's already experienced it. Just write, didn't Drake told his wife about the monster attack? Yes, it's a tell, but we've already experienced it. We don't need to do it again. Maybe we're traveling between places. Maybe we start the story in New York and we're going to travel to Chicago. If nothing happens on the trip, don't write, and then Drake goes down to the train station, he stands in line, he buys a ticket, he talks to a woman, and does this thing. And then he goes and finds the train, he gets on, he realizes he's on the wrong train, he's done it 50 times, and he goes by. Don't write that crap. If nothing happens, don't make stuff up just to have it interesting. You need to push the story along. So just write, and then Drake orders the train for Chicago. In chapter, next chapter, here's some iconic thing in Chicago to let you know that we're in Chicago, and then move on. We just tell and move on. You have to make the decision. Everything in writing is up to you. You are in the driver's seat, and everything must be by design, on purpose, and for the reader. As I said, if you like how I teach, these books are literally written exactly the way I just taught. You will feel like you're still in this room as you read these books. This one will make you a better storyteller. It's all about the feeling of the story, thematic elements, and all that. This will make you a better prose writer. A lot of what we'll talk about here, not everything is a little different. But there's a lot of stuff in here on how to be a better writer and to use narration to write stronger stories. My lovely assistant, Stephen Evans, is paying cash, 20 of these for you for the sets. You can also go to Drakeview, drakeview.com. There's some free stuff on there, but there's our paywall as well. It's $5 a month. If you like what I teach, you can watch it over and over and over again, and you can get more of me teaching you there. And if you want to come talk to me, like I said, I'm down in Small Press. Come in through the B2 door, just walk straight to the back wall. I am the last booth in the far corner, right in the back. Thank you guys very much. I hope that did everybody in here hear something they have never heard before? And I do want to everybody say hello. Yay.
Thank you.